and welcome to the Curly Girl Book Tour. I am here with Christina Watkins. For people who don't know her, I'm going to read her bio really quickly because I want you to know a little bit of background about our guests that are coming on the show. And we have a great lineup of 9 dynamic women, including Christina. So Christina is an Emmy-nominated 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. weekend anchor for WDSU News in New Orleans. And when she's not behind the desk, she's out in the field. You can see her out covering breaking news stories from severe weather and also tracking down stories that matter to her viewers right here in New Orleans. And Christina has covered national stories, including the mass shooting at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, the Carolina Panthers in Super Bowl 50, the historic removal of the Confederate flag from South Carolina State House grounds, just to name a few. Now, she was also featured, this is fun, she was featured on BET during a documentary about hip-hop mogul and New Orleans native Master P before joining WDSU. Christina did spend 3 years in Charlotte, North Carolina at Spectrum News, and that's North Carolina's 24-hour news station. So she was on all the time. And Christina earned her degree in broadcast journalism from Florida International University in 2012. And she's a proud member of
Delta Sorority Incorporated.
And the National Association of Black Journalists. Please welcome.
Say that, Katie.
Yes, I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna let you have that moment. That's all you. So, for people who are joining us on the Curly Girl Book Tour, we are really just speaking to women, dynamic women who have chosen and selected to be on this tour with us all month long, like Christina. Curly girls, natural girls who are kind of embracing this curly girl life, which it really is a lifestyle choice. Let's talk from the beginning. I mean, every girl who is a curly girl has a story, a transition, and a way that they got here. So what was your hair story from a youth, like from growing up? What was your hair journey like?
Well, Casey, first, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be the first of 9 dynamic guests who are part of your virtual book tour. An incredible book. If you haven't bought it yet, please do so. It's really well. So proud of you. So my hair journey started at a really young age. My hair is very thick, very full, very long. And to be quite honest, it was a lot for my mother to handle. I dealt with the hot comb on my neck, behind my ear, holding my ear. I did all of that until I got my first relaxer when I was really, really young. I want to say maybe like 2nd, 3rd grade. And it, at that time, that's when it was talked about. That was the conversation. It was just for me, whatever it may have been, those box relaxers. And that's what I did for so long, up until fast forward to my first TV job in Missouri. And I just stopped getting relaxers, right? So I want to say toward the tail end of college, maybe the last 2 years of college, so about 2010, I stopped getting relaxers. I was wearing a sew-in at the time because I went to college in Miami and it is hot.
I can't hear you anymore. Are you still there?
I apologize. Yes.
There. Sorry. Yeah, I hear you.
Sorry about that. I got a call. So about 2010, I stopped getting relaxers and I would just have them straighten my edges for my leave out because I did have weave at the tail end of college. And when I got to Missouri, which is where my first gig was, my hairstylist there, his name was Dominique out of Kansas City. Shout out to you, Dom. He was still putting sew-ins in my hair. And one day he said, Christina, I am not braiding all of this thick, beautiful hair down anymore. And I was like, but why? And he said, he's like, you're natural. You're all natural. Your whole relaxer grew out. I was like, for real? He was like, yes.
You didn't realize it?
No, because I was getting sew-ins. I had no idea. I wasn't doing my own hair. I just kept getting it braided down and was at the hair salon. So I didn't know. I just told them, I said, stop putting perms and just stop putting it in my hair because I got tired of my scalp burning and not wanting to scratch it. It was just too much. So I trusted him. I was like, all right, Dominique, do you. And I should have sent you this picture, Casey, so you could see when we first straightened my hair, it was down the middle of my back. It was so long. And from that point in time, that was essentially when my adult natural hair journey started. I have not touched any sort of chemical since then, that was October 2014. Why I remember that day so vividly, I don't know. I was just so scared. I was
That's
scared.
like a rebirth for women.
It was.
I remember my date.
Yes, October 2014. I was so excited. I'm like, this is all me, all natural. Yes, ma'am. And I've been wearing my hair out ever since then. And here I am.
Since 2014.
Since 2014. Mm-hmm.
So let's go back a little bit because you were talking about early on, your first relaxer was at the age of, it sounds like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was about 7 or 8. Mm-hmm.
I was about 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of the age where moms are like, you know, I'm not doing this.
We tired. Our arms hurt. We tired of combing this hair, tired of combing through the kitchens. We're going to give you a relaxer.
Hey, look, some people are asking for the link. So let's make sure that they're all logged on. I'm going to get these links out. Cool. So that's and then you were talking about the hot comb. I never had a hot comb experience.
So you never had to hold your ear. Hold
no.
your ear down.
I mean, had it with I had it with the you know, the flat irons.
Yeah.
But never a hot comb. My mom was a nurse, so she was a working mom. And of course, you know, you see my hair is thick.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot to deal with. So, you know, she made the choice to go ahead and give me a relaxer at that age. And she was getting relaxers. My grandmother gave us our relaxers. So, you know, it was an easy process. That was just what we did. But do you think the progression to where you are now with your natural hair, is there something rooted in the past about like why you wanted to go to natural?
I think for me, I really had no intentions on going natural. I got tired of the process of getting a relaxer. It annoyed me, if I'm being quite honest. It was annoying. I didn't like the fact that like I said, you can't scratch. And if you do, your scalp is going to be on fire. And I just, you know, I got tired of having to deal with that process. So at one point in time, I just told my hairstylist down in Miami, I said, stop. I was like, just stop doing it. Since my leave out is pretty much straight anyway, I don't really have any problems with that. Just stop doing it. And then over time, throughout those years, about 4 years, my relaxer grew out naturally by itself. And I've been all natural. I'm like, okay, cool.
Have you loved it? Have you loved it, or has it been a challenge?
I love it. I will never, ever, 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 ever go back to a relaxer, ever. I will never use the creamy crack ever again. Yes, it has been a challenge for me because when I was in Missouri, I had someone who knew how to press my hair, keep it trained, keep it straight, and the weather accommodated my hair as well. Then when I got to Charlotte, same situation. I had a phenomenal hairstylist. Tracy is the bomb, and she knew exactly what to do with my hair. Even though Charlotte gets really hot and humid, I would get protein treatments, steam treatments every week and a half to 2 weeks. I was in her salon getting my hair pressed. Then when I moved here, I remember when I first moved here, someone told me, you know, Christina, I don't know what you do to your hair and so forth, but you may want to go ahead and plan to find a stylist ASAP because its humidity is a different beast. And I was so nervous about that. So when I first got here, I put a sew-in because I didn't know. I didn't want to mess up my hair. I didn't want to start over. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to be out in the field and have everybody talking about my hair or my mom saying, Christina, you need to do your hair. So I got a sew-in just to be safe until I found the right stylist. And after 3 tries, the third try, I found Najere, who is my hairstylist now. She knows exactly what to do. I'm in her chair every 2 weeks, getting my hair washed, treated, and pressed. So if you notice, I would say I have not worn my curls on TV yet. I get my hair pressed.
Yes. So that was what I was going to ask next, because you're one of the naturals you're one of the curly girls who wears her natural hair in a protective style, which, you know, eliminates a lot of the pull on your hair and, you know, manipulation and stuff of that sort. So do you ever see yourself wearing your curls on air, or do you think you'll continue to do the braids and the twists and things like that?
I would love to wear my curls, and I'm planning on it. I think once I take these out, I'm gonna rock these all summer because y'all feel this heat outside right now. Like we're just beginning the dog days of summer. So once I take these out in a couple of months, I want to start wearing my curls. I have no idea where to begin, if I'm being quite honest with you. I still to this day don't even wash my own hair. I get it done at the salon. I do
Girl.
not. Since I have stopped wearing weave, the very first time I got my hair pressed in 2014, I have not washed my own hair because it's so thick. It's so thick, and I can't get through the roots myself. My arms hurt, my back hurts. I'd be feeling so bad for my stylist. I'm like, how do you do it?
You know what? And I tell people all the time that I'm a natural who I don't go to the stylist at all. Because I've learned, and you know what? I thank my mom for this because she taught me early on how to really care for my hair, even when it was relaxed.
Right.
So I've always been really good at doing my own hair. So, and I pride myself on not really going to stylists until it's time for a cut, or like if I really want a nice different look or something like that, or want to try to achieve a style that I'm not trying to be doing for a long time. Yeah, because I'm
goal.
Yeah,
to be able to style my own curls. I can do my hair when it's straight. I can maintain it. I keep it well oiled and keep my scalp treated and everything taken care of in those 2 weeks between appointments.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else,
I wait to that day when you do wear those curls. I'm gonna be like tuned in. Yeah, give me a shout before you do, because I'm definitely gonna see that.
I'll send you a selfie first to see if it looks. If it
Yeah,
looks right.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So, on that note, there is a standard expectation for television news anchors to have this sleek, I used to call it the anchor bob, because I had the anchor like asymmetrical bob, which I don't know if you ever had it, but
never had the bob.
Yeah, there's an expectation if it's that, or it's the the extensions, the wigs, the this look that people are trying to achieve. Yeah. And so have you ever felt like you've had to change your hair or wear it in a certain way to fit into that mold of what a news anchor is supposed to look like?
I did, sis, and I'll be the one to tell you, I'm so grateful for journalists like yourself, because that representation really does matter. I didn't see anything but straight Farrah Fawcett type curls growing up in Orlando. That's where I'm from. And yeah, we have Black women who, our anchors, one is still working there, who I watched my whole life. And my whole life to this day, she still has straight hair. Nothing against that. But that was what I saw. And it was all I knew. And it was all people were talking about at the time, until it became more of a conversation when people started posting some of their emails when they would take that step and wear a different kind of style. And that gave me the confidence to step outside of the typical box, as well as what people would expect from any journalist. And, for us as Black women, we're expected to keep the same hairstyle all the time when we're on camera. So that was also something that had been, drilled into my head for so long. And that was all I knew. And last year was the first time I stepped out and got a protective style on TV. I had knotless braids. It was part of the movement, part of the Black women on TV movement. And I said, if this is the time I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. And I do not regret it. It was the best decision I made, to just feel free to be able to know that I don't have to worry about this hot summer ruining my hair, or I don't have to worry about applying heat all the time to my hair to get it straight again because it's so hot outside. Like, I'm able to get a break and to take care of my hair, and it's okay.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit earlier about, like, we all remember that day when we were completely natural. If you've been through that journey, do you remember that day when you decided to wear your protective style on air? I know there had to be some anxiety or some type of nerve. Like, what is it? What are people going to say? What are people going to think? What was that day like for you?
It was nerve-wracking. It was last summer. I actually wanted to do it September 2019. I was going on a trip with my line sisters overseas, and I wanted to, get the braids in and everything, but I didn't feel comfortable doing it just yet, because for me, I felt like I had to ask for permission. I felt like I had to ask, and I didn't know how to ask. So last summer, when I see all these other Black women changing their hair, I'm like, you know what? Buck up, Christina. It's time to do it. It's time to just do it. Call it a day. Don't worry about anything else. Just do it. And that day, yes, it was filled with anxiety going on TV, but it was also relief. I felt, it's as cliche as it sounds, I felt free. I really
Mm-hmm.
did feel free. And there was a phrase called "free the curls" that anchors started and they use when they decided to wear their curls. That's how I felt when I decided to get a protective style. I felt free, and I got messages even from our former boss at the time, or our boss at the time, not our former boss. Got messages. She's like, "It looks great." Everyone said it looked great. Not that I was worried because it's my hair and I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to protect my hair, but it did give me a little bit of reassurance to see that this is also professional. The straight hair isn't always the only professional thing. It can be curls, it can be kinks, it can be twists, braids, locks, whatever. All of it across the board is considered professional. And it's not going to change the news I deliver or how I deliver it. And that gave me
Right.
another level of confidence that I didn't have before.
Yeah, girl, there's so much to unpack there. Okay, because the former boss you're speaking of was the person I had to go to when I wanted to wear my natural curls, because my hair had gotten so short to the point where I could no longer straighten it, because I was kind of transitioning to by cutting it. And I just couldn't straighten it anymore. And I woke up after Jazz Fest, my hair was like a peacock, and I was like, this is the day. It's going to be an afro on TV today. But before I did have to talk to her. You have to talk to those bosses, because your image is kind of something that they, I don't want to say own, but
it's
have,
brand.
yes, it's a part of their brand and your brand. So, I had to have that conversation, and she told me, as long as you wear it, as long as you keep it cute, it's fine.
Yep.
And it was easier telling her that because she was a Black woman. There were, prior to her, there was 2 white men who were in management. And I had made some decisions with my hair, and they shot it down. Like, I had gone to a red dye. It was like rebellious phase, like wearing red hair on TV. But I got so much street cred for wearing my red hair.
Yes.
But my bosses were like, no, we ain't gonna do that. So I had to tone it down. But there's so much there. But then, the protective styles, we're seeing, more natural girls, we're seeing more protective styles in the business. What do you think is changing? Is it the mindset of the journalists? Is it the mindset of the women? Or is it the societal cultural changes and acceptance of the natural hair?
I think it's all of it. All of the above. I think even if society didn't accept it, there are so many Black women doing it, society will eventually have no choice but to accept it, right? So I think it's a combination.
Like, you're going to love it because we're going to keep giving it to you.
We're going to keep doing it. So you can change your channel, but you're going to find another Black woman who looks like me, Luke. So it's more, it's one of those things where one person does it, the next person does it, the next person does it, and it just keeps going. And, all of the feedback isn't necessarily positive, not from me in particular, but I've read comments from our other, sisters in media who have gotten, criticized or whatever the case may be, but we are stronger in numbers. And I'll tell you this, Casey, after I first got my braids last year, my knotless braids, these are twists, but when I got my braids last year, I got so many messages from women in Charlotte, Jacksonville, Miami, main anchors in other markets who were like, send me pictures of your hair, Greensboro, North Carolina, send me pictures, because they had to show their bosses. They had to show their bosses that it can be done and that it is being done. So I think it was a combination of all three put together. It's like, we're going to do it regardless, but also it's being talked about more in what is defined as professional. I mean, who made that definition to begin with? We don't know. So why aren't we the ones who can change it? Because we don't even know where professional hair, the definition for us, came from. It certainly wasn't defined by us.
It's defined by the white majority. And that was going to be my next question. Do you think that Black women in media are dealt a different hand when it comes to, the treatment of, our hair and things of that nature, as opposed to our white counterparts?
I think so. Because we have to figure out what works for us. And if someone can't figure out how to maintain their curls, or say you're in a market where there's not a hairstylist to cater to Black hair, a lot of times you're stuck wearing a wig. And sometimes you may not be able to afford that expensive wig that you want that looks like your hair. And so we have so much pressure on ourselves, no matter big market or small market. But we as Black women in TV have so much pressures when it comes to our hair, because we don't really know what we can do or how to do it, or we may not have the resources depending on where we live. Mm-hmm. White women in TV can pretty much go anywhere to style, get their hair cut, get it colored, you know, blow dry it, do whatever. You know, I know a lot of white journalists who are very particular about putting a lot of heat on their hair as well. But I also think that stems from our conversations that we as Black women are having. We're putting an attention, putting a focus on protecting our hair. And I think they realize too that, how can I protect my hair from all this heat?
Yeah.
So it's starting a conversation amongst everything, but I do still think we have a harder time, and we face, you know, more challenges when it comes to the workplace.
And I'll say this, because curly girl isn't just for brown skin girls. There are our white counterparts who have curlier, coarser hair, and they are struggling to do some of the same things that we're trying to talk about here. And the book here, Curly Girl, if you're interested in going to get a copy, you can actually go to my website, caseyferran.com. And if you are on the live here, we're actually going to pick one winner to get a free copy. So I'm looking at these comments. So somebody's going to get a copy, but there's also a discount code. If you go on and use Curly Girl Book Tour in the checkout, you can get 20% off your purchase. But this book, as I said, is not just for brown skin girls. It's really for curly girls all over who are, you know, struggling with loving their curls. And I've seen young girl, and I hear it all the time, young girls who are like, oh, I hate my curly hair. I hate my natural hair. And it discourages me so much, because this is what you were born with. We should love ourselves with what we're given, not, you know, try to fit into some standard of what's expected or what, and I'm love seeing all these comments coming through.
No, they are popping up on my end too. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's you mentioned your book is not just for brown skin curly girls, and that brings a point to Ginger Z, the meteorologist at Good Morning America. She started wearing her curls and got some negative feedback and was calling them out on social media and was like, "This is my natural hair. I'm gonna wear it like this. You don't have to love it, but I do." And that goes to your point of what you said of just, you know, embracing us in our natural, beautiful, God-given state.
Yeah, and the book title, Curly Girl, My Curls Are Mine to Love. Like, I intentionally said that because it's for me to love first before anyone else. If I don't love myself first, then I can't expect or, you know, feel the love from someone else. So that really was intentional. And I'm going to go ahead and start moving into our next topic, because I really want us to hit on this. Christina hosted my book launch on May 6th. So what Christina didn't know was, while she was preparing to host my book launch, I was going into labor. I had gone to the doctor the day before the book launch for, you know, a typical checkup. And then that night we're starting to feel some contractions. So I'm like, oh, it's nothing. I'm going to push on through. Baby's going to hold out. But then I text my doctor, let her know we were having contractions. And for those who don't know, I just had a baby a month ago. And he is now a month old. But he was born. He's a month old already.
Gosh.
I don't know if it's 4 weeks or a month. I don't know how you calculate it. I'm still figuring out that stuff. But we zoomed into the book launch where Christina was hosting it for me, and she took over everything for me because I couldn't be there, and I was definitely planning to be there. But we were in labor for about 2 hours by the time we zoomed in. And you probably couldn't tell this, but I had gotten my epidural before we came into y'all. And I was having epidural shakes, as they call them. And I was like, literally, like, you couldn't tell, but my whole body was shaking. It wasn't nerves or anything. And I was like worried y'all would notice. And my husband was holding my hand, like trying to calm me down. But that was about 7 o'clock, I think, when we came into y'all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you kept asking questions, and I was like, girl, please, last question. No more. I can't take it.
I wish you could have seen my face. It was like 10 o'clock that morning. I'm over at the station doing my makeup, and I'm texting with Casey about the event that day, right? I'm texting you, and you're like, I'm about to call you. I'm like, oh, what happened? Now, mind you, I already knew that baby Burke was going to come at any moment because it was about that time. God is just so funny. Like that day, I'm like, okay. So I call her and she's all calm, cool, and collected as always. And she's like, I'm on my way to the hospital. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, I started having contractions. Like, so what does this mean for your book release? Like, I'm glad you're great. You're feeling great, praying. What does this mean for today? You're like, oh, I'm just gonna, get it zoomed in. Like, when I tell y'all, Casey is a superwoman. She is in full labor, having contractions. And she's like, I need to find somebody to give me a screen. I need to find this. I need to do that. I'm like, lady, you're about to have a baby. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
In my mind, I had all day to figure this out. Like,
man. But it was great. It was so great. And what got me was part of the book, which you'll see when you buy your copy, is she talks about what the young girl was watching on TV at the time, right? And the mom responds back and says, yeah, is that giraffe still pregnant? Or did the giraffe give birth to the baby yet? Something along those lines. But it was timely because Casey, if you're going to compare, was the giraffe and was having birth the day she wrote this and didn't even realize that she would give birth on the day of her book release. That tripped me out.
Yeah. And it was funny when we were reading it live. I had forgotten, like, I actually haven't read the book in a while because I was supposed to read it that night. I hadn't read it in a while, but I completely forgot about that. So I completely was just like, this is crazy how it all just because I wrote this book in 2018. And I had been holding on to it because I was still looking for an illustrator. And that's another thing. We'll talk to the illustrator later on in this tour, but the illustrator was 18 at the time when I tapped her to do this. She's a curly girl. Yes, super talented. Like, she brought this character to life. And that's really what pushed me to get it out, because I gave her the book. I didn't give her any direction really at all. She sent me all of the illustrations back. She sent me the character, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's her. Then she sent me all the illustrations back like a month later. And I was like, I had nothing to say. I maybe changed one thing. And I was like, oh, this has to get done. And my publisher, who's also tuning in right now, Lisa Blakes with Untapped Potential, really just made sure we got a quality book. And I'm just so excited for the girls who are reading it. And I've been kind of sharing the moments that I'm getting as girls are sending pictures of them reading this book. And it's so beautiful to see, their excitement. It's really a movement that we're creating by just this one simple book, which shares my story and just experiences that I've had with other young girls. And I really am just so excited to see where this goes. And I'm glad you were able to be a part of it as well.
I am too, sis. And it's because of you that young girls who are our age, when we first started getting relaxers, will be able to say, but mommy, what if I want to look like this? You know what I mean? We didn't really have a lot of representation like that when we were that age. We didn't have books like that to read. So what you're doing with Curly Girl is really setting a different tone for the next generation to be able to, nothing against relaxers now. Let me just say,
no.
Let me,
personal choice.
Nothing, exactly. Do you? But that's the beauty of it, to be able to do you and it be okay. I felt like when we were growing up, that was all you saw. The commercials for Just For Me. What was the other one? Dark and Lovely. Yeah, Dark and Lovely was for the teenagers. That's what you used when you got older. But now to see curls and locks and braids and different styles on young girls as well as adults like us, it gives girls another outlet, and your book is doing that. Thank
you. And this discussion is only supposed to be 30 minutes. I feel like we could talk forever, but I don't want to hold you all night. And you talk about representation. When I was growing up, I saw Black women on the media. but I didn't see the curly hair. And until I started wearing my curly hair is when I really truly found my authentic voice. And I didn't feel like I was trying to fit into a box. And that's the thing I want girls to experience, and even women to read this book and know that you don't have to fit into this box like we're on these boxes right now. But you don't have to fit into this box. My hair is still just as good in this box. So yeah, be yourself, be authentically yourself, and really just find the love for yourself and your curls throughout your own journey, your own time, your own, your own way. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the ladies who, I think we should go ahead and pick a winner. You want to pick? Can you see the names on the side?
I cannot.
I'm gonna let you pick.
That was my drum roll, though.
Oh, you can't see them? Okay.
I can't see.
Okay, so I'm gonna close my eyes, and I think Vanessa Gordon was our first person on, and she was the first person to comment. So Vanessa Gordon is gonna get her free copy of Curly Girl. So feel free to inbox me, Vanessa, or you can go ahead and send a private message to me to make sure we get that copy to you and your daughter.
Congratulations, Vanessa.
Yay.
Love it.
And if you haven't already gotten your copy of Curly Girl, it is available right now at caseyferran.com. And you can get a discount of 20% if you use the Curly Girl Book Tour code at checkout. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back on Wednesday with another great guest, Miss Sheba Turk. If you're in New Orleans, you know Sheba Turk from WWL TV News, a competitor to Miss Christina, but still a beautiful friend. We're all friends and family. Yes, so she's going to be joining us on Wednesday, and she's got a vibrant story, a vibrant personality. So we're looking forward to that. And if you haven't already registered for the rest of the tour to get more information about who's on the tour, you'll be able to go do that off the website now as well. So thank you guys. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye.
Good night.